Does China's Ukraine peace proposal offer any way out, offer any kind of diplomatic off-ramp?
I don't think so. I don't think it's taken as a serious proposal, and China certainly is not seen as being neutral in this affair. I think China can play a constructive role, however, and I think that would come about with President Xi Jinping talking to President Putin, saying, you can end this. You can end this now by not violating the international rule of law that says you don't take over another country by force. And so President Putin has started this. I think he was preparing to win it very quickly, and he miscalculated. And I think the West miscalculated. I think we, too, believe that Russia would go in and take over the country quite quickly. We were both wrong, and as a result, you're seeing this massive amount of humanity being shelled, I would say, and heavily wounded and killed.
Mr. Cohen, let's refocus out to this part of the world, the Indo-Pacific. In just the last month, a couple of key things have happened. North Korea launched a cruise missile. We had Australia, the UK, and the U.S., of course, unveiled this monster nuclear submarine program. Japan now has Tomahawk missiles, and the U.S. is trying to stockpile hugely in Taiwan. And it's got a lot of people thinking, look, this is the beginning or the visible signs of yet another sort of arms race in Asia. And what they're worried about is, one, is it deterrence against China? Could be, or could it actually end up triggering the kind of conflict that we're trying to avoid? What are your thoughts on this? How much of this is necessary and how much of this is actually dangerous?
Well, most of it is dangerous in terms of we have two powers. I would say that China is certainly a global economic power, and I believe they are very close to being a peer power compared to the United States. So they have an amazing amount of weaponry they developed in a very short period of time. Their economy, I think, is quite solid throughout the world. And so I think it's very dangerous whenever you have two competing powers, nuclear weapons in the hands of both powers. That's a very dangerous place to be. So my hope is that we will start talking to each other, that if the United States Secretary of Defense calls up the defense minister in China, pick up the phone. One of the first things I did when I was at the Pentagon is say we need to have a hotline between the Secretary of Defense and the Minister of Defense in China. It took 10 years for that to happen, but now that we have it and have had it, I think it's really important that we talk to each other so there's no misunderstanding or miscalculation. You may recall when the assault upon the Capitol took place, the Secretary of Defense was talking to his counterpart saying, don't worry, this is not destabilizing the country, do not have to worry about it. So that's important, and I think it's important now that we resume talking to each other, have more exchanges, both in person and virtually if necessary, but talking is really important at this time.